There are days when you're cooking dinner, replying to a work message and trying not to burst into tears over something that, objectively, isn't even that serious. Your daughter asks something simple, like if she can sleep over at a friend's house, and without meaning to, you snap at her. She looks at you, confused, and even you don't understand why you reacted that way. Minutes later, you're apologizing, throat tight, wishing you could explain that it's not her, that you're not angry, that you simply don't recognize yourself. Menopause doesn't happen in isolation. Even though it's a process that directly affects our body and mind, its ripple effect reaches those around us, especially our family. What nobody told us clearly is that the mood swings, the irritability, the crushing fatigue, and the lack of desire to talk or socialize don't just impact our well-being. They shake the whole dynamic at home. Suddenly, you find yourself distant with your partner, less patient with your kids, even evasive with your parents. And then comes the grief, because this isn't who you are, or at least it's not who you used to be. The thing is, this isn't just a weird mood or a hormonal phase. It's more like an internal revolution, a mix of built-up exhaustion, chemical shifts, and existential questions that catch you off guard. What do I really want? Am I happy? Am I just tired of being the one who always holds everything together? And in the middle of all those questions, there comes a day when all you want is silence. Just that, silence. But of course, the house keeps moving, the kids still need you, your partner still expects things, and you're falling apart inside while still putting a wash on and dishing up dinner. Many women feel guilty for not being as available, for not having the energy they used to, for not responding with a ready smile. And that guilt becomes just one more thing to carry. But here's something that's not said enough. You're not failing as a mum, or a daughter, or a partner. You're changing. You're going through a stage of life where emotional rebuilding is necessary, and that inevitably affects how your family life flows. Sometimes our kids don't understand what's going on. They see a mum who doesn't laugh as much, who gets angry for no apparent reason, who forgets things, who needs space. And they might take it as rejection. That's where the importance of talking comes in. You don't need to give a scientific talk about estrogen and progesterone. It's enough to say, I'm going through a tricky time right now. Sometimes I don't feel great, and I can't always explain why. But it's not your fault. I love you just the same, even if I don't always show it. Those words, simple as they are, can prevent a lot of hurt. Because even when you can't control your emotional state, you can still offer understanding. And let's be clear, this isn't about putting on a brave face and bottling everything up. It's about including your family in the process. Stopping the act of pretending you've got it all under control. Showing them that you too need support. That you're vulnerable too. That you're learning how to live inside this new version of yourself. Because if you think about it, your children don't need a perfect mum, they need a real one. One who teaches them that feeling low isn't something to be ashamed of. That setting boundaries isn't selfish. That self-care is also a form of love. The problem is many of us grew up watching our mums do everything in silence. They swallowed their pain, kept everything running as if nothing was wrong, and now we feel that if we don't do the same, we're being weak. But repeating that pattern just leads us to burnout. Showing our cracks doesn't make us less strong, it makes us more human, and strangely enough, more connected. Because when you stop demanding perfection from yourself, you stop demanding it from everyone else too. Something shifts when you let go of the idea that you have to be fine all the time. New ways of connecting begin to open up. With your children, with your partner, even with yourself. You stop pretending nothing's wrong, and rather than creating distance, that honesty can bring a whole new kind of closeness, an unexpected sense of understanding. But to get there, you have to dismantle a lot of old beliefs, like the one that says, you shouldn't worry your kids with your problems, or you've got to control your emotions. Because let's be honest, what confuses our children the most isn't that we're sad or irritable, it's that we're pretending we're not. When children see their mom acting strangely without any explanation, it creates a quiet confusion. They sense something's off, but because no one names it, they start to believe it's something they did. And that's where a tangle of misunderstanding begins, one that's hard to undo later. But when we speak honestly, even from uncertainty, even from a place of, I don't have all the answers, we create something powerful, emotional safety. You're teaching them that talking about hard things doesn't break connections, it strengthens them. The same goes for our partners, our sisters, our parents. Sometimes we withdraw, close ourselves off inside the discomfort because we assume no one will understand. Or because, let's be real, we're sick of hearing that it's just a phase. But if we don't speak, we don't give anyone the chance to really come close. And yes, some people won't know how to respond. They might get uncomfortable, change the subject, or say something clumsy. But they might also look at you with softness and say, I didn't know you were feeling this way. Tell me how I can support you. And that moment, even if it's brief, can be the start of a much more honest connection. Throughout this whole process, there's something many women discover with surprise. Not everything is loss. Yes, you lose a bit of emotional balance. Yes, there are days you don't even feel at home in your own body. But there are discoveries too, like this new strength that appears when you finally say, no more. Or when you decide to stop justifying your exhaustion, your need for space, your desire to be heard without being rushed. That clarity becomes a compass. And even if it feels like selfishness at first, you soon realize it's not. It's self-love in its rawest form. And when you start acting from that place, from self-respect, your relationships shift. Not always easily, but truthfully. Your children notice you're no longer available 24/7, but they also notice that when you are present, it's real. Your partner might sense you now need different forms of connection, less routine, more emotional intimacy. And you start giving yourself permission to be a whole woman, not just the mother, the wife, or the daughter everyone knew. Not everyone will know how to walk that road with you. Some relationships will strain, some may even end, but you'll also find out who's truly willing to walk beside this new version of you, not out of obligation, but by choice. And that's deeply healing, because there's nothing more freeing than being accepted without having to twist yourself back into the woman you used to be. Perhaps one of the most radical things you can do at this stage is to allow yourself to be a woman with shades, with bad moods, with silence, with days full of light and others dipped in shadow. Showing that to your family is not a failure. It's an act of truth, and truth, even when it stings, has a way of binding people together, especially when it's spoken from love, not guilt. So if you're at that point where you feel like you're failing at home, breathe. Take an honest look at everything you're carrying. Recognize that this change also needs emotional space to unfold. Speak, listen, ask, let go. There's no perfect formula, but there are gentler paths, and sometimes just naming what's happening is enough to begin the healing. This isn't an ending, it's a transformation. You're not losing the woman you were. You're giving birth to someone new, more aware, more honest, more you. And that, even when it's hard, is also a deep act of love for yourself and for your people. Because a woman who honors herself, even with trembling hands, holds a power that echoes through the whole family. And that power, believe me, it shows, it's felt, it stays.